You will never understand. I wish you would just get out of my life and leave me alone forever. What comes to mind when you think about teenagers? Risk-taking? Peer pressure? Moodiness? Why are these behaviors associated with teenagers? And what causes them to behave this way? A defining characteristic of teenagers is that we are going through adolescence. Adolescence is the period between childhood and adulthood where there are physical, psychological, and social developments in the body. These developments are all controlled by hormones. Hormones are special chemical messengers in the body which help with bodily functions such as growing and staying hydrated, as well as regulating sex drive. Hormones are created in the specialized glands of the endocrine system. Many of these glands are in the brain, the CEO of the body. Our brain is always growing and changing as we learn new information. Although during adolescence, the entire brain is going through major modification. These modifications aren't complete until the mid-20s. Brain development in adolescence begins in the back of the brain and makes its way forward. Because of this, the prefrontal cortex is last to fully develop. This is a crucial part of the reason teens behave the way they do. The prefrontal cortex helps in evaluating decisions. Adults make better and faster decisions because they use the prefrontal cortex as well as synapses wrapped with a myelin sheath. This sheath speeds up the nerve signal. Instead of using reasoning, we use the impulsive, emotional amygdala to make decisions. The amygdala is part of the limbic system, which contains structures that are involved in many of our emotions and motivations. Our impulsiveness is one reason there is the stereotype that teens are such huge risk takers, going into drugs and violence. Another reason teens are such big risk takers is that our rewards and pleasure system is fully developed. The pleasure zone is also known as our nucleus accumbens. This means when presented with a large reward, adolescent brains have a greater reaction compared to children and adults. Adolescents often take risks to prove themselves to peers. In 2 studies by the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia and State Farm, it was found that adolescents who drove with peers were more likely to be distracted right before a car crash compared to those who drove alone. Our impulsiveness from the amygdala, our need for more from the nucleus accumbens, along with our desire to prove our worth to our peers, is a recipe for huge risk takers. Adolescents are also stereotyped as being moody. However, this is not entirely our fault. Since we use the impulsive amygdala to make decisions, we don't always stop to think about our actions and are quick to react. Also, it is difficult to read emotion without a fully developed frontal cortex. This explains why you may want to start a fight because someone looks at you a certain way, or why some adolescents may come to the conclusion that their peer is sad when their peer is actually angry. The ability to apply someone else's perspective is still developing in mid to late adolescence. As the prefrontal cortex develops, teens learn how to argue better and see the flaws in the world, including in our parents. So those of us who tend to argue a lot are only practicing new abilities. These imbalances in our perception of the world can result in a wide range of emotions each time, resulting in moodiness. Early adolescence is one of the best times to learn a new skill. At this age, the amount of gray matter is at its peak. Gray matter is the darker tissue of the brain containing brain cells and synapses. The peak amount of gray matter in a lifetime is at age 12 for girls and age 14 for boys. After these ages, the amount of gray matter decreases due to synaptic pruning. Synaptic pruning is when the connections between neurons or synapses that are used the most are kept and those that are not used as much are removed or pruned away. So if you play an instrument or play a sport often, the necessary synapses will get stronger. And if you choose to stay up late and play Fortnite a lot, those synapses will get stronger as well. You children these days keep on staying up so late. Just go to bed now when you can wake up and do it in the morning. But maybe staying up late isn't your fault. Sleep is important for adolescence because that is when the pituitary gland releases growth hormones necessary for development. You become sleepy when the hormone melatonin is produced. You may not be able to fall asleep early because, according to a study, adolescents don't start producing melatonin until 1 a.m. Production falls later in the morning compared to children and adults. No matter when you sleep, you should get 8 to 10 hours of sleep daily. Lack of sleep makes it hard to pay attention, increases impulsivity, and may also increase irritability and depression. Many mental disorders emerge during adolescence, such as schizophrenia, anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, and eating disorders. For proper development, teens should maintain healthy eating habits as well as exercise regularly. Studies show that exercise promotes new cell growth in the brain, increasing mental abilities from 20 to 30%. Formal studies on the adolescent brain have only begun as of recent. There is still so much to know about the brain and all its abilities, not only that of adolescents, but brains of all ages.